Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the conversation piece with your host, Akila. Ready? Let's go. I had a talk with a fellow writer and poet, Olivia Muhammad. But my voice for this interview was raw and I was in a weird headspace from the night before. I watched the Sandra Bullock movie, The Unforgivable, on Netflix, and the movie triggered me in a way I didn't see coming. I hadn't cried like that in a while, and it concerned me why I was so emotional. Maybe it was the fact that in the movie, Bullock's character was a woman recently released from prison and she needed to reintegrate herself back into society. And recently I volunteered as part of a homeless challenge back in late November 2021. And so I saw what people experience trying to just survive and the barriers that one has to jump to survive. And so, like I said, my voice was raw for this interview and my energy was kind of weird, but Olivia quickly put me at ease and calmly put my nerves to rest. I found her to be a patient and attentive listener with a gentle spirit. The moment I found out you were a writer, I wanted to talk with you. Toni Morrison was known to write from her body. Our bodies have memories to share, and so everyone has a story to share. Would you mind sharing your story of what you were like as a child and your journey towards Al Islam?
Yeah, well, my childhood was, typical, nothing that was really amazing. And, but the point of the period of coming into Al Islam, I was pretty much in my, at a young adult. And I guess like most people who embrace a religion or a new religion, basically to find something, or they're looking for something different or something new, something that would, excuse me, enhance or change their lives for better, of course. And the change, I guess, for me was not a very difficult one. So, and I think sometimes the the senses that we have, at least three of them anyway, plays a big part in and had played a big part in my acceptance and what I saw, okay, my vision, what I heard, and what I might physically be able to do to help within that cycle of this religion of Islam, and to help myself to improve myself and to make my years or make my life conform into a better way of life. So I had no qualms about accepting Islam, and once I took that step, alhamdulillah, I can say I've never looked back.
Oh no, were you my mom before she converted, she was a Baptist, and I've heard I think Brother Imam said once he was even a Buddhist at one point. I see on
Like,
YouTube they're called reverts. But were you in a different religion before Islam?
no,
No.
no, I was just a regular person, going through life, uh, worked at a certain, age in my life, and did the basic, what we call the typical norm things that most people do. And religion pretty much was not so much a part of that.
No
I mean,
what?
some people, some children come out of families where the parents are, or a parent or the parents, are very religious, and the child, they may go to church once, a week or wherever they may go. In my life, that pretty much wasn't the case. I've gone to church, um, but it wasn't a place that I even thought about seeing myself in down the future. I was not connected in that way with the church. And then I was younger then, so but then once reaching adult age, church was just not in the cards, I guess.
Because one thing I like about Islam is that it makes you think. You just question stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with questioning, but you just think about stuff. But I know that you're a teacher. What grade do you teach?
Elementary, from
Oh,
preschool through fifth grade.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
My mom taught that grade when she was in school.
yeah.
That was, is it fun at that age? Is it?
Yeah, it's it's nice. It's dependent. It depends on what kind of class you get,
Oh,
and how many children you might have. So I mean, 22 kids is a lot, and if it's kindergarten, that's a lot of kids, and if it's fifth grade, definitely a lot of kids because over the years, kids change and their attitudes change, and so you're dealing with something totally different when you get between third, fourth, and fifth grade.
are
You
you in there
know,
by yourself? Is there a teacher's aide? Because
no,
22 kids.
no teacher's aide.
You're in there by yourself
By
with 22
myself.
kids.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, God.
Yes, ma'am. So again, it depends on what kind of class you walk into. And sometimes it's very good, depending on the teacher and how she conducts her class and her students. You can have a great day, though some will test the waters,
Mhm.
um, and but you manage. You find a way to manage, and I've been doing this for what 24 years now. So you find different techniques and how to deal with certain behavioral problems
What's your technique? 'Cause my mom, she, it was funny. They gave her the quote unquote problem kids, but when they were in her class, they weren't a problem anymore. It's like she set a certain tone, a certain
Mhm.
expectation for them.
Mhm.
Now, yeah, she used candy and treats.
Mm.
She played that psychology,
Mm.
but like, what's
Mm.
your teaching style?
Oh, well, my rule is my position is always respect. When you come into a classroom, and setting the theme or the tone for the day. Especially particularly if I know there may be one or two that could get a little out of sorts and cause a disruption. So in the early morning we have I call a 5 minute chat. Set the rules, let them know what's going to happen today, and what they're going to do today, what I expect of them, and and what they can expect of me, and set the day that way. So anything after that, um, if there's a situation, and I know the buildings that I've worked in, the staff has always been very supportive. So if there is a situation, I can say, you can take your hat and coat, go down to the office, and
Oh.
and I'll let them know you're on your way. If you can't follow the rules, then see. So, and that's how that
Oh.
goes. So I know some people may tolerate and just keep putting up with the disruptions, and approach them right, and you're not harsh and yelling, and I'm not a yeller, and threatening and all that. So there's a way to reach some children, because I always have to remember, they come out of houses sometimes first thing in the morning. You don't know what goes on in their house,
Mhm.
and they may come in hungry, they may come in tired, from being up late, and whatever goes on in the morning. So you have to be kind of, I don't know, thoughtful of that too, and patient with them, and try to find out what their situation might be for that morning, and and just try to help, just so it's not about, well, you're doing this wrong, get out of my room. It's not like that. It's trying to assess what the problem might be, and handle it from that point, so there's no other need to get administration involved if it's a problem that can be settled. you know and most times children realize when you're being kind and trying to help them. They can sense that. And then later they'll come back and they put their arms around you and say, so that's the best part. Have a little more compassion for them. And I think for me, I can speak for anyone else, but I know for me, in being in Islam, that is just, there, and we try to demonstrate, compassion for each other, whether it's children or, Muslims in general or anybody, we try to walk that route first and feel what they're feeling and realize, what their situation might be, and if we're in a position, to help, whether it's just a few words or, getting the child something to eat or whatever it might be, we do that first, and it seems to work. I think children are more receptive to kindness than they are to threatening and and all that kind of thing there. So and it comes for Muslims it comes naturally, I think.
How do you get into I know sometimes when I do write I have to be in a certain headspace or whatever. Do you write every day?
I've seen you had a book at the Islam and I wanted, there was a page in there, I can't tell you what number page it was, but I wanted to ask you about that, and but I hadn't gotten a chance.
You read it? I wrote that with my best friend Cece.
Yeah. Okay. So I was looking through it. So yeah.
that was just I wrote it and didn't edit it. I just what I was feeling at the time just wrote it, and a lot of it was written like between like 2003 2008. This has been a while. Typically when I do write, I try not to edit myself too much. That's what I'm feeling at the time.
So do you write basically based on what you're feeling, and it kind of just, does it come out to what you expect it to come out to? Does it express the words, does it express what you might actually be feeling?
Sometimes yes. Or I'll observe something and then I'll write about it. Like if I saw like a homeless person at the park, whatever. If I don't have anything like to write, or if I don't have my phone to capture it, I'll just like take like a mental snapshot of it and then go and write. And then from there I might edit myself, but and then at that moment I'm more careful because I'm trying to like think back, trying to like get the imagery and the emotions of what I was feeling at the time from there. But when I'm just like, when I free write, I'm just whatever's out.
So you're so more inclined to write about the events of what's going on in the community or the world, individual people, as you just mentioned. If you see a homeless person or
but when I do write fiction, like when I do like creative writing and short stories, I'm more structured that way.
Okay.
Because I was with a part of a group maybe 2 years ago. We had writing challenges and had to do like so many words, and we're given a subject that was fun. But I followed the structure that way. But yeah.
How long does it take you to complete one poem? Or
it depends. Sometimes it'll take me. It depends.
And how many verses? How many stanzas would it have?
I try not to limit myself. I don't even know what that's called. Just write. Okay. No, I know what a stanza is. But sometimes I don't like. I don't know. Is it better to follow a certain structure?
Well, there's free writing, they call it, and it's line by line by line by line, and then to break it up into stanzas, usually it's 4 sentences, to each. Some may call it a paragraph, but but the stanzas in poetry they call it stanzas. So 4 lines. It could be 5 lines if you so will, but yeah. So I find that for me it's easier to read. It's easier to read, and the first and second sentence usually are actually as one, and this third and fourth sentence kinds of sums up the first 2. So it all all 4 goes together, and then the next stanza, takes me into a different idea, I guess, of the poem, same poem, but a different aspect of the poem. So,
Oh.
yeah.
See, I
And
didn't
then,
even think about the part about the reader. I
mm,
was more just like, okay, that
because I
makes more
like to
sense.
tell a story. I like mine to tell a story. It has to be a beginning and a middle and an ending, just like if you're just reading a book. So, um, and I find that works. It works better than trying to, just think of words that rhyme and and make something. So I can't. It may take me. Sometimes I can do it depending on where my mind, my head is.
Mm,
Some things come easily. Some come easily, and I can finish in 20 minutes. And I can write a whole poem.
yeah.
Sometimes it takes me 2 days or 3 days. One have taken a year. I finished it, but and this was what a year or so ago. But this year, I had another addition to go to that I wanted to put with that, and it made it so complete. It made it totally complete. So I'm like, yeah. And this was centered around the George Floyd incident, and I try to do write different things, community, whether it involves the community, whether it's from a nature aspect, and the sun, the moon, the stars, the trees, whatever, or it's just from the spiritual side, the human being. So, what word can I find to rhyme with this? It's about finding a word that complements this whole sentence, but makes sense in what I'm trying to say, makes sense in this sentence. So sometimes it is a matter of researching a word that means what I'm trying to imply in the sentence, and oftentimes it comes out in a way that it rhymes. So so I don't know, but it's not. It's not a quest to see what words I can rhyme with, and so I have to look in dictionaries and
Yeah, I have,
look
a,
up words
I have a rhyming dictionary. I have a,
and well, not so much a rhyming dictionary, but an explanation of the words that I'm going to use that fits into the idea of the poem, and so yeah. But you're right, it does, and I don't know. And this, I guess, over a period of time, it just seems easier to do it that way. Then free verse, I guess, if we can call it that, or what is that? You hear not young people when they go to these programs and they just, I guess, rap, if you will, or I don't know. And I guess that is free verse, and they're talking and they're saying things, and sometimes I don't really understand what they're saying, but for me it's like it may be true as to what they're saying, but there's no point. There's no end to it. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on and on and on and on. And so for me, it's better. I feel for me, it's better to have a beginning and end and a conclusion. It should tell a story from its point to its end. So this way, it's not for me a whole lot of excess, words and and there's some things that are so obvious in this world that we know are happening, and it doesn't always need to be said. But I like to try to find a solution. Think that I'm finding a solution in what I'm writing. So if I say, well, the ozone, for instance, the ozone is in crisis. Everybody knows the ozone is having a problem, right? Everybody knows that natural disasters are on the rise. Okay, common knowledge. So at the end of it all, and it may not be, and it's not a solution to the problem, of course, but it's again an eye opener. And if the question is asked, well, why are all these things happening? Why this? Why that? Why is this world? And then we look at the things that are happening, okay, that are making people, insane, that are making people, go over the deep, over the edge, or drink or do drugs or whatever it is they do. These are the things that are happening in our planet. So we just resort to the easy way out, I think, sometimes, some people, as opposed to trying to find a solution to these things. These are real things that are happening. And so.
Okay. Would you mind sharing that one?
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this one is called The Living Planet. The ozone is in crisis. Natural disasters are on the rise. Global warming looms on the horizon, and pollution fills our skies. A constant burning of fires. Oceans begin their swell. The earth will upheave its secrets of stories it longs to tell. A pandemic shadows the planet, hovering like a shroud, a pendulum swinging between breath and death, and man is not standing so proud. Nations are at a standstill. The threat of war taps at the door. The oppressed hope to find a safe place, but for most, there are no more. Human dignity is diminished. Gross encroachment on the rights of others. Protectors of the weak, some profess to be, yet hate still divides each other. Quell the injustice to humanity. Hear the hearts of those who cry. And as the world teeters on insanity, just look at the reasons why.
Wow. Force yourself to find something beautiful in everything you do, and you will only do beautiful things. Mir Ezra. Since June 2021, Olivia Muhammad has been a featured writer in the Community Press newspaper in Fort Myers, Florida, where she has a monthly contribution in a poetry column titled The Poetry Corner. She also has a book of poetry available called Thoughtful Reflections and is currently at work on her second book of poetry. What subjects do you teach?
Oh well, all
You have to teach, so you know everything.
What the teacher, whatever the home teacher leaves, if she's not there, obviously she won't be there if I'm there. But whatever she leaves, I always find follow the course, follow whatever it is she left. So it could be English. It's a combination of all three, or four actually. So a little reading, a little math, a little English. Then they have resource. Then they have recess, and then they might have, well, they will have lunch. So it's a combination of things.
You being a writer, do you teach any kind of writing class?
Oh, you know what? Well, when you say writing, are you speaking of poetry writing?
I remember in school, I always kind of like wrote and dibbled and dabbled as a little kid, but I remember specifically when the Challenger blew up, the space shuttle, because we had a thing where you could see it. You could see the because Cape Canaveral is on the east side of Florida and we're on the west side. So when it crossed over, you could see it in the sky. And I remember it was like every time there was a space a shuttle launch, it was like a little thing that we did at school. Our teacher was take us out so we can see the shuttle. And I remember that particular day we kept waiting and waiting and waiting. At the time, we didn't know that it had exploded. It had, exploded. So we come back in, and we get word that the space shuttle blew up, and so they played it on television. And it was Miss Miller's class, but she wanted us in that moment to write what we were feeling. And I was wondering, like, do you like if you see a kid going through something, like, do you encourage? Because I know with writing for myself, I use it as an emotional outlet to get my feelings out. Have you ever had to, like, set a kid aside and say, hey, just write, just get those emotions out?
Well, no, exactly. If it's a traumatic sort of a situation that may have happened during the course of the day, I think that's would be handled a different way. since and if that is not a part of the lesson plan, then I tend to stay away from just doing whatever I feel like I think I might want to do with that child. So if it's something that's a problem for the child, or something, an event that's causing that child to be upset or cry, or you know I would generally even know for the teacher, but if it gets to a point where the child is not um, functioning in the classroom, then my choices are either call a guidance counselor, to maybe come and speak with that child and see what the case might be.
Oh.
And that saves a lot of problems later on down the road. I think, because it could be something personal, it could be some home event, something that may not be my concern at that moment. I mean, if he's not hurt, he's not bleeding or passing out or anything like that, But so I would kind of pass that on to the guidance counselor and let her handle it the way she thinks best. Because she might have to call the parents. She might, and maybe she already knows something about this particular child that I don't know. So I think that for me would be the best recourse.
Oh. So I think some of them, even the guidance counselors, they just sometimes they want the kid to assess what they're, so they'll have either even drawing, they'll just draw, they're like, just tell me how you're feeling, and the kids either drawing or they're writing something.
So and they would do that, but in a classroom full of so many kids, and just to have one getting this attention and trying to that child may not feel so inclined to want to do that with so many kids in the room, because now everyone is focused on the child now, like, oh, what's wrong with him, and and can I do that too, can I write something? So then you've got a whole nother thing. So if it's a troubling thing for this child, then for me the best solution would be let the guidance counselor handle that. And because again, it may be just a phone call to the parent, it could be anything for the moment, and then the child can come back to the room and just be as happy as a lark. And so
I know people can be judgmental and difficult, but if you shut yourself away from the world, you'll never see how beautiful it really is. Imania Magria. Any last thoughts you want to share before we conclude?
No, this was fun. This was interesting. This was different.
So, at the beginning of this episode, I was reflecting on my my triggering moment when I saw the Sandra Bullock episode, The Unforgivable, and I was like, what is going on with me? So, a friend of mine, she advised me. She's like, listen, just write something. Just get the emotions out. Just whatever comes to your mind. Don't try to fight. Don't try to fight it back. Just write. So I was writing and wiping away tears and trying to process all this stuff. And because the other day I saw a guy standing on a corner, and I didn't know if he was homeless or not, but he had a look to him. But again, I got triggered, and I just think my emotions surrounding the homeless and people who seem down no luck. I guess I'm just my emotions are still raw at this point. I'm just kind of sensitive, but I want to share with you all what I wrote immediately after watching that movie. It's not long, but I don't know. I just feel like sometimes it's best to share, because perhaps my words can touch somebody. I don't know what. Everyone's going through something, of course. We're human, but well, obviously we're human, but you never know what can touch somebody. So I want to share with you all immediately what I wrote. So here it is. My heart has memories I thought were lost. My eyes have wells behind them that won't stop. My pain is recognizable, even as I currently don't recognize myself. It's this conscious memory. I thought you were gone, but you came back with a vengeance. I thought you were dead, but you are very much alive. I am still here. I am still here. It's nice to be alive. Sometimes it's hard to process not having someone to protect me, to look after me. Am I new at this? Feeling? No, but I need someone to talk to. If you live off a man's compliments, you will die from his criticism. Cornelius Lindsay. Thank you again for tuning into another episode of the Conversation Piece podcast. I am your humble host, Akila, requesting that you join me again. So, until then, be safe. Love and value yourself so that you can love and value others. I bid you adieu with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you.